Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. So today's video is going to be a little different than what I've previously put out. Today I am going to be sharing with you something that is very near and dear to my heart. As I said in my last video, I do study history at the University of Mississippi, and one of the parts of history that I really enjoy studying is Islamic history. So today I'm just going to do a quick video about the life of Muhammad. This video would not go into too much details about a lot of stuff, so if you know this information and you're like, oh, you're missing a part here and there, I know. I tried to put as much as I can into this video, but also to keep it short. So let's get started. Muhammad was born in 570 CE in Mecca, and he was an Arabic religious, social, and political leader who founded and led the religion Islam. Now, Muhammad was orphaned at an early age. His father died when he was 6 months, and then his mother died when he was 6. In between that time, he did live with other people, but after his mother's death, he was raised by his grandfather, and after he died, he was raised by his uncle. Now, both his grandfather and his uncle were leaders of the Banu Hashim, and excuse me for my pronunciation, this is not my area, but yes, they were leaders. Muhammad would regularly seclude himself into a mountain cave named Hira for multiple days and nights, sometimes for weeks, it was reported. And during one of his visits, he was visited by an angel named Gabriel, and he received his first revelation. Now, it wasn't until 3 years later that he began to publicly share his preachings with others. He did believe that God is one and that through complete submission to Allah, that was the right way to live life. He was considered to be a prophet, and he is considered to be the final prophet of Islam in all of the main branches. There are some secular branches that have separated from this idea, but in the main branches, he is considered to be the final prophet of Islam. Now, during his teen years, Muhammad did work with his uncle in order to gain experience in trade. It is believed that while on these trades, Muhammad was founded by a Christian monk named Bahira, who predicted that he would become prophet. Due to his work as a merchant, it is believed that Muhammad traded between the Indian Sea and the Mediterranean Sea. He was a hard worker, and he was deemed to be trustworthy, faithful, and truthful. And because of this, his name kind of spread, and his work ethic and the good things that people said about him led to this lady named Khadijah, who was at the time a 40-year-old widow, finding out about him. So she sought out Muhammad, and she sought out to marry him in 595, and he accepted. Now, during this time, it is believed that Khadijah was the one with more power and money than Muhammad. So the marriage was very beneficial and very great to him. Khadijah was his first wife. Now, after his revelation from Gabriel, Muhammad returned back home to the home that him and Khadijah shared. And it is reported that a cousin of her was there with her too, but he told both of them about his revelations in the cave. Now, Khadijah was one of Muhammad's first followers, and along with she was one of his first followers and a follower of Islam along with him. As his wife, she did support him in his revelations, and after her, he gained followers such as his younger cousin, his close friend, Abu Bakr, and his adopted son. Now, I did include his close friend's name because in many of my lecture notes, this name does come up later. If I ever do a second video about this, I'll make sure to go into details about why. Now, I will say why I believe his name was mentioned a lot, but I don't want to be wrong, and I don't want to put out misinformation. So if I do the second video, I will definitely go into more detail and clarify. Many of his early followers could be grouped into 3 categories. The first category would be the younger brothers and sons of other great merchants. The second category would be people who have failed to gain or sustain their rank in their tribe. And the third would be foreigners who were mainly weak and unprotected. During the beginning of Muhammad sharing his revelations, he had very few followers and an even bigger opposition against him and his teachings in Mecca. Now, Mecca was polytheist at this time, and Muhammad's teaching would have went against what they believed in, because he believed in just, one God, but they praised like statues and stuff, and that would have went against what he believed in. So because of the great opposition against him in Mecca, this led to his migration to Medina in 622. Now, this event would soon become known as the Hijra. Am I pronouncing that right? I hope I am. And it marked the beginning of the Islamic calendar. Upon his arrival in Medina, Muhammad and his followers worked to share the words of his revelations with them, and he soon united the different tribes in the land under the constitution of Medina. Now, I'm going to move to the second slide, but I'm just going to take a second to say that Muhammad's presence in Medina was welcomed by the people. They were going through their own issues with the separations of Arabs and Jewish people and stuff like that. So, they had, it's estimated to be about 100 years of war and bloodshed before he came. They were also happy to welcome another prophet to their land, and they saw him as kind of a way to get back at Mecca. Now, it should also be important to note that Khadijah and Muhammad's uncle both died in the year 619, which became known as the Year of Sorrow. Because of his uncle's death, the tribe that Muhammad would have originally belonged to, the Banu Hashim, had a change of leadership. Their leader was now his cousin, and Muhammad and his cousin really did not have a like for each other, so his cousin withdrew the tribe's protection over Muhammad. Without the protection from the tribe, his life was in immediate danger. There was now no more threat of bloodshed if someone was to kill him. So he started the search for a safer place for both him and his followers. Muhammad was no stranger to the route to Medina. It was then known as Yathrib. And many people would use that route either on business or as a pilgrimage to the Kaaba. Muhammad was welcomed into Medina for all the reasons that I have said before now. I kind of got a bit in front of myself. But many Arab tribes all over Medina converted to Islam, and within 2 years of him being there, people began to, migrate to Medina to see him. This was kind of an issue with those in Mecca, and they tried to stop them. But, majority were able to migrate there to see him and just be with him and to talk to him. Now, it is believed that Muhammad did have a revelation about which direction he was faced during prayer. Originally, he faced towards Jerusalem, but in his revelation, he was told that he should face Mecca. So after his revelation, all prayers were then facing Mecca. Now, despite the Muslims' attempt to escape Mecca completely, war would begin to break out between the two. Now, I'm going to include 2 wars because I believe that these are the most important too. The first would be the Battle of Badr, which happened in March of 624. Despite the Muslims being outnumbered by Mecca fighters, it is believed to be 3-1. Muhammad and his fighters won. They only lost an estimated 14 people, while the Mecca forces lost an estimated 45 and leaders. Abu Jahl is being one of the leaders that they lost during this battle. Now, due to his victory in this battle, the people in Medina who were originally against him and had oppositions against him, they soon began to convert, and the opposition against him began to lessen. Now, because of his victory against Mecca, Mecca began to plot ways to win again. Now, I would say that The people of Mecca did begin to form alliances with smaller tribes on the outside of Medina. Muhammad originally did try to stop these alliances with first, not as strong as forces, but as time moved on, his forces became stronger and stronger against those who decided to form an alliance with Mecca. The Battle of Uhud happened in March of 625. Despite the Muslims winning the first battle against the people of Mecca, they lost this one. They did start off strong in the beginning of the battle, but their shortcomings started to show. They were not as trained and as disciplined as the soldiers from Mecca, and they lost. So they lost an estimated 75 people, and before returning to Medina, they did bury them. And those from Mecca took this as a final win because they did believe that they killed Muhammad. They did kill his uncle Hamza, but they did not kill him. And not wanting to show that they wrongly celebrated his death, they did not return to fight. They did not return to the area. Now that we have those two battles out of the way, since this presentation is mainly focusing on the life of Muhammad, I've put into these last two slides what I think are the final notes that are important to know. Now, the final notes and death of Muhammad. There was a treaty of, I'm going to butcher this so wrong. I really don't know if I should try to pronounce it, so I'm not. But there was a treaty. And this treaty only lasted for 2 years before it was broken. Now, the treaty was broken by the tribe Banu Bakr, who were assisted by the people of Mecca to attack and kill tribe members of Banu Quza, which was the tribe that supported Muhammad. Now, after this, Muhammad did send a letter to the people of Mecca, giving them 3 options after this attack. They did choose the last option, which was to dissolve the treaty and declare the truce of it null. After doing this, they realized their mistake and they tried to go back, but Muhammad was like, no, you chose this option. This is the option that you stay with. So due to this, Muhammad was able to march on Mecca in 630 with an estimated 10,000 Muslim soldiers. They were able to conquer Mecca. He declared animosity to everyone but roughly 10 men and women who he decided acted against him and were guilty of murder and breaking the peace. Most Meccans soon converted to Islam, and all of their statues and stuff were destroyed or covered. Now, since this was so long ago, we do not have much physical proof of this, but it is believed to what has happened. In 632, Muhammad completed his final pilgrimage and began what would become known as the Great Pilgrimage. Now, on the 9th of Dhul al-Hijjah, Muhammad gave his farewell speech. I've only included 2 parts of the speech that I believe are very important. The first was that he said that a white has no superiority over a black, nor a black any superiority over a white, except by piety and good action. I saw that word and I wanted to say pity, but I know it's not pity. Now, Muhammad also asked his male followers to be good to women, for they are powerless captives in your household. You took them in God's trust and legitimated your sexual relations with the word of God. So come to your senses, people, and hear my word. Now, I believe that this one is important to include because a lot of the misinformation that people have against Islam usually stems from what they believe the women are treated like within Islam. And as someone who has studied Islam across many different societies over the course of the past 3 years, and I just recently started studying the religion, these statements are not true. I would say that they're more fueled by ignorance than they are by people truly, not knowing and trying to know. So I believe that this was important to include because it shows that even the founder of Islam wanted the women to be taken care of within his religion. Now, Muhammad did die not long after this. He died on June 8 in 632 in Medina. He died inside of the house of his wife Aisha, and he was believed to be either 62 or 63. Now, I have inserted what is believed to be his last words. I could read the English version, but I am not going to butcher this as badly as I will. So it says, to Allah, to exalted friends, highest friends, or the uppermost highest friend in heaven. Now, those are very beautiful last words, I must admit. It is believed that he died with his head in the lap of his wife. Now, on this last slide, I did include some pictures. The very top picture is the Prophet's Mosque in Medina. The green dome was built over Muhammad's tomb. This is a very beautiful picture. I really like it. In the bottom left corner, you guys will see Muhammad's name in Arabic writing. And on the bottom right, you will see 2 book recommendations by me. Now, the first book that I recommend is The History of Islam in Africa, and the second book is A History of Islamic Societies. I have used both of these books multiple times. Even whenever I'm not in a professor's class that issued them out, I still use them a lot. These books have a lot of important information in them, and the book A History of Islamic Societies actually covers a lot of different areas where Islam is. Southeast Asia, America, South America, West Africa, the Ottoman Empire, Turkey, etc., etc. Now, the professor where I learned most of this information from, his name is Nicholas Trepanner. He actually studies Anatolia, which is, I don't want to be wrong, but correct me if I am. It is the prior name of Turkey. So he studies Turkey, and he is very passionate about it. And, a lot of the stuff that you guys see in this slide, he actually taught me himself. So I just found it right to mention him at the end of this, because without him, I really wouldn't know as much as I do know. But he's not the only teacher that has ever taught me about Islam. I am blanking on their names right now, but I definitely know that Nicholas Trepanner is one. Zachary Guthrie is another one. And there's a third professor whose name I am big time blanking on right now. But if I can remember it, I will actually leave it down in the description bar. And even if I can't remember it, I will go on the website and I will look it up, because I believe that these 3 men have contributed a lot to my education and my love for Islam and the history of Islam. So that is it for today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope you guys like this. It's a little different than me just sitting in front of a camera and rambling on about random stuff. I wanted to post something a little bit educational, because we are in tough times right now with the quarantine and people not being able to access their actual school. So if you find this video and you like it, I hope you give it a thumbs up, subscribe, and leave me comments on if you would want more videos like this.